So I'm live here. What's on my mind is some questions that I've been getting lately. So if there's anybody who is interested in talking about relocating with children, that is what's heavily on my mind. I'm thinking about a lot of the questions I've gotten recently. Um, if you have small children, uh, in terms of how do you make this happen? How do you do it with children? Those of you who know, I've traveled with Chris before. He did his senior year while we were living abroad, and he's traveled quite a bit. But how do you make this happen? And what should you anticipate? And how do you choose your schools? And at what point is it a good time for you to actually move with children? I would say the earliest the better because they get immersed in the language and the culture of another country. Education is very different in a lot of countries than what we experience here in the United States. Cost is really, really, really different. Okay, let's see if I'm on. Okay, hopefully I am. Let's see if anybody's going to join me. Today I'm talking about moving, international moves with children. Let's see if anybody joins. I've been getting a lot of questions lately from parents. Rightly so, given what we see is going on with the dismantling and reorganization with the Board of Education. I don't know what I would do if if I had a child in K-12 in America right now. Well, I do know what I would do, but I do know that it's not easy. So I don't say it lightly. The first thing I say is, if I had a child in K-12 and I'm living in the United States, first thing I would do is homeschool. That's easier said than done, and I do understand that just the whole concept of homeschool has a different definition for everybody doesn't look at it the same way. A lot of parents meant when the school system forced them into homeschooling during COVID. And for me, it means something completely different because I was a homeschool parent before any of that. And, the thing about homeschooling that I think a lot of parents don't realize is that you have the freedom to create it to be whatever you want it to be, to fit what you think your child needs, and to shape your family structure and your lifestyle and the whole 9 yards. And again, I want to really say that I know it's easier said than done, but I would be absolutely terrified to send my kid to school right now in America. I know, and I know I'm lucky. Mine is grown, and I don't have that as a worry. But my heart is with a lot of parents that do have that concern. And for those of you who have been planning this move abroad, that's probably why I get a lot of questions now um, on. Oh, I got people joining. Hi. So what did I miss? Okay, so I want to talk about parents. This is for parents. This conversation is for parents, people who are looking to leave the country and they have children. And so they are concerned with how to navigate that, how to navigate child care, education options. How do you factor that in when you're talking about relocating outside of the United States? That's what's heavy on my mind. Okay. Um, yeah. So I do have some parents here. hmm So first off, let me say that here in America, you know how the problems that we have with childcare and the cost that parents deal with childcare here. I want you to first kind of erase from your mind the idea that this crap is normal, that these prices that we pay for daycare and everything, that it's normal. It's not freaking normal. It's not normal. Okay. Um, in most other countries, you would pay for a nanny or a babysitter, or even if you're sending your child into a daycare environment, you would, in the majority of countries, be well under €500, $500 per month. Okay. Okay, but it is the truth. It is the truth. We like many other areas, when it comes to moving abroad, we have to dismantle our version of normal. Okay, and so I would say if you have children, number one, younger the better when it comes to moving. Don't wait. What are you going to be waiting for? What are you going to be waiting for? Let them get immersed in another language. Let them get immersed in in another culture. It's so easy when they're young. They absorb it around them, and they learn like sponges, right? Because I get a lot of people saying, oh, well, my kid is here, so I'm going to wait to there. If my kid is at this point, I'm going to wait to, whatever they get to the next point. Don't wait. Don't wait. Okay. Quite honestly, that I would have, I wish I would have moved Christopher a lot earlier. Waiting doesn't work out. So the sooner the better. When it comes to choosing schools, most countries have the international school. They have multiple school systems. Most of them will have a public school option. Okay, so if you have your visa, which you will have your visa, most countries are going to have a public school option that your child can go to. Some countries the is not going to offer a bilingual education in with the public school option. Some will, but some will not offer the bilingual part. Okay, and that's another reason why I say the younger the better, because young kids can start school early. Like in France, you can start at 3. They start early, they learn the language, and they end up becoming bilingual if you're speaking English at home. And in France, the public school option happens to be bilingual. In Portugal, it is not bilingual. In some areas of Spain, it's bilingual. In others, it's not. Okay, but so you don't always have to look at a private school when they get of school age, when they get out of daycare. If you're going to look at the international schools, okay, that's where, even if you compare it to United States tuition, private schools, parochial, and we have the why is it leaving my mind? The independent school system, which is like freaking horrid tuitions for primary, right? The international schools, if I'm gonna start looking at countries, I'm gonna say in Portugal, it'll be anywhere from like 4, depending on the grade, between 4 and 10,000 euro annually, which is still a lot lower than the U.S. But it's a cost, right? It's a cost. If you're in somewhere like Bali, yes. But Bali surprised me with the international school cost, quite honestly, because I've seen it go as high as 15K annually in Bali, which was surprising. Um, but what I do want to bring to your attention is that when you're looking at the international schools and you look at the countries that you're looking in, so like you think about Bali, you think about Costa Rica, the foundation of the pedagogy of the schools are very nature centered, very environmental, you think about where they are, and when you see the focus of the schools, you understand. You understand. Okay. Um, but I just let's see if I have any questions. Otherwise, I do have some questions here. Let's see here. Okay. Blake, if you're still here, you have a question, you can ask. Let me see if I have a question here I want to bring up. Because I printed some of these out. I've been getting a lot of these lately. Okay. All right. Is this reasonable? Is this reasonable? I thought Mexico, everything would be cheap. Here's the thing. You know, us, us, assumptions. We gotta like kind of erase the slate um, with assumptions. Mexico. Everything is not cheap in Mexico, as some people think, right? But it is considerably cheaper. So, the international school system in Mexico can run you anywhere from $2,000 to $8,000 a year, which is cheap for the international school system, and it's actually cheap, quite honestly, given the proximity it is to the United States. Okay, now keep in mind, I am really only thinking about the international school system. They also have the British school system. They also, excuse me, I believe they have a couple of schools in some parts of Mexico that is based on the French school, the Francis school system. But the international school system is all over the world. So that's the one I'm thinking about right now. And 2,000 to 8,000 in Mexico is pretty darn cheap. It really is. Um, Child care, again, between 150, 500 a month, depending on where you live, honestly, like anywhere else, right? Um, so I've had a couple of people in my community and in DMs asking me about areas of Mexico. So I'm just gonna say a resounding no, that is super reasonable for the tuition for international schools, okay, for Mexico. Um, uh, Same thing with those of you who are really looking at Costa Rica. And here's the thing. I can see a theme. I see a theme with some of the countries that I'm getting asked about. Um, I think they are countries like Costa Rica, Panama, Mexico, great for kids. Yes, they'll enjoy outdoor life. I mean, it's a big world out there, okay? But yeah, they're all going to be in the same price range, give or take $1,000 when it comes to private school. And each one of those countries you'll also be able to select the public school, which will be free. But you just have to find out, depending on where you live, on whether or not that public school is going to be bilingual, if you care about it being bilingual. Okay. Your bilingual schools are usually not going to be further out. They're going to be in the main central cities, Mexico City, the urban areas, right? Okay. Yeah, because I got a lot of Costa Rica, Panama, and Mexico. Yes, to the person who asked me about Ghana, yes. I will say this. I was really surprised that international schools actually go as high as 15K in Ghana, which which is very similar to prices that we see um, in countries like Germany and Switzerland and what have you, right? I was shocked at that. And I would have to do some more research on the foundation of the international schools in Ghana, because I have not personally done a lot of research there. I visited a lot of different countries and schools and whatever, because by trade I'm an educator. It's one of my licenses. Okay. But yeah, I was surprised at that. But I don't have a lot of personal hand information on Ghana. I have to meet some more people that got kids in the international schools in Ghana and in the public schools, quite frankly. I don't have any firsthand accounts of that, okay? Um, yeah. All right. Let's see if I'm going to stay on live here, okay? Uh, uh, uh. Okay, so here's what I'm going to say. Um, I'm starting the Global Transition Report, and I think I'm going to put this topic on my list of episodes for the Global Transition Report so that I can maybe choose 10 countries that are very popular amongst expats or future expats, countries that you guys are looking for, where I can go a little deeper into how to make this happen with children, and I'll go more into the different school systems as well. Okay, that and countries that I am thinking about um, for a for the Global Transition Report. And please, if you see this video, you can also recommend a country that you want me to talk about, okay? But I am definitely thinking about Portugal, Spain, South Africa, Panama, Mexico, Costa Rica. That's 6 right there. Those are countries that consistently come up as places that people want to move, and a lot of us are talking about or planning to want to move within 12 months, okay? And you can do this, and you can do this with children. Alrighty, so yeah, if you have any countries, oh, I'm gonna throw France on there as well. I gotta throw France on there because France has an excellent healthcare system. France has excellent education system. France has a great cost of living. France is in a great location of Europe for travel. And so I think when you guys are looking at places that you might want to live, France comes up on the radar, even if it's not where you're thinking, where you see yourself. It keeps coming up because it ticks a lot of boxes. Quite frankly, it ticks a lot of boxes. And yeah, so it may be that we need to look at some places that tick a lot of boxes, even if it's not the place that we're going to stay permanently. It may be a stepping stone country, right? It may be somewhere that you stay for 1 to 5 years and then move on. It may be somewhere where you just stay while the kids are going to school to get the heck up out of this mess here. Okay, but anyway, if you want to see a country on that upcoming video, just drop it in the comments for me and I will add it. Okay, alrighty, ciao.